Hi, second graders and second grade parents. This is Miss Stephanie again with week number 5 for our self-regulation group. Today we are talking about triggers and what triggers are for each of us, because all of our triggers are going to be different. I do just want to kind of talk about first, just a little intro, just some housekeeping stuff. I am actually going to be posting, hopefully this week, the rest of the videos, the rest of the weeks, the rest of the activities, all in Schoology, because I realize we're coming very close to the end and I don't have enough weeks to get all 8 weeks out for you guys. And I don't know if you're going to have access to Schoology during the summer, especially after you turn in your iPad. So I'm just going to put everything on there. Parents, you can download the forms, you can download the videos, however it works for you. If you can't do that, let me know and I will email them to you if you want to continue to do it over the summer. I think it would be super beneficial, but I think next year, I haven't exactly had it planned out yet, but I really want to start with this for the kids who are supposed to be in it, to make sure that they really understood everything and they got the full benefits from it. So if you want your kid to kind of do some of this again, just let me know. I'll do that in the fall. Fingers crossed we're going back in the fall. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and jump right into this week's video. So we're talking about triggers and what triggers are, and you'll be able to find this poster on the page as well under worksheets and activities. Remember, you can print those out, you can download them and just keep them on your iPad or your computer, wherever you want, and go from there. So what are triggers? Triggers are places, people, or things that cause you to feel upset. By identifying our triggers, we can come up with a plan to help us stay calm. What moves you out of green and causes you to feel red or yellow? These are your triggers. So this could be math. I've talked to a lot of you already about math and how that can be really frustrating for you. And so math can kind of pull you out. Math is your trigger. It could be the people at your desk, in your space. They're poking you, they're talking. That is a trigger. If you get annoyed with them talking to you, if you get annoyed with them poking you, you've told them to stop, they're not doing it, that is a trigger. Okay, your friend sitting close to you is a trigger. So go ahead and think about some of your triggers and what some of those things are that take you out of green and back into red or yellow. This kid right here, he's very angry and he's wearing red. He's in that red zone right now, right? He says, my triggers are loud noises, when my sister yells, and when people touch my things without asking. Those are some good triggers. Those would make me angry too. Do those things make you angry? He also says, this makes me feel hot in my cheeks, and I clench my fists in my jaw. So this is what he looks like. That's what he looks like when when those triggers trigger him. So that is what happens when he's going from green to yellow or red, okay? Sometimes we can notice how our body responds to triggers. Pay attention to your heart rate. So that's how fast your heart is beating. If it starts to speed up, you might be going to yellow or red. Pay attention to your heart rate, your muscles tightening, like he said his fists were clenching, and jaw clenching. So if you're gritting your teeth, breathing very shallow, those kinds of things. These are signs that you are losing some control. So like I said, go ahead and look at this. You can print it out. If you want to hang these up on your wall, go ahead. They're really useful reminders for everything, especially when you're at home and you're practicing these things. So parents, that's awesome if you want to print those out and hang them up on the wall somewhere. Maybe in a good calm down corner if you've made one. Okay, so the first activity after we talk about triggers that I would have done is called a think, pair, share, which you might have heard something similar to that in their regular classes. So this is where they would think about something, they'd get together with a partner, they would talk about it, share each of their ideas on that, and then they would share those with the group when we came back all together. Obviously we're not doing that, but I'll go ahead and read the questions and you can pause the video and go over those with your student and see what their triggers are and things like that. So the first question is, what are some of your triggers? Number 2, how can you tell when you are about to feel yellow or red? And what can you do to get yourself back to green? So those are the 3 questions. Go ahead and pause the video. You can go back to listen to them again, or they might be on, no, I don't think they're on any of these activities. So you're going to want to just listen to them in the video. And that is our first little icebreaker. The second part, which will be in the activities, so that you can print this out if you want to, is the My Body Dice game. So I will put the instructions in there. There are 2 dice that are on their own separate pieces of paper that you can print out and fold them up. It's pretty self-explanatory to fold them on the creases, tape them, glue them together. You could have the kids do this. They would love to put together the dice. Usually I have them prepped before the group just because it's easier for me to put it together when I only have 30 minutes with the kids. But you can have them put these together while you figure out how to play the game. So the instructions are: cut out and assemble the dice with tape or glue. Students take turns rolling the dice. They share how their body feels when they are feeling the corresponding color. So they would roll a color dice. For example, if the student rolls hands on one die and red on the other, they could share that their hands clench into fists when they feel red. So you're just going to want to pair that feeling color with the body part and what that body part does. This will just help them kind of recognize what their body starts to do when they start to feel that color, so that they can start to recognize that physical transition in their body as it's happening, so that they can start to learn that faster and then put those coping mechanisms into place so that they can get themselves back to green faster. Once they can recognize that feeling in their body, then they're able to do something about it a lot quicker. It's a little like potty training in that sense. Once they know what that feels like, they'll go to the bathroom every time, but before that, it's a disaster. So the next activity is really fun. If you have this, I probably would have had like really big butcher paper out for them to draw on. But this is good for like beginning of summer. Go outside and draw your body in chalk on the sidewalk, or if you have a driveway that you could draw that in. So this is called the My Body drawing. Divide students into pairs. They can do this with a sibling if you want. They can do it with you. Have them lay on the ground and trace each other on big butcher paper or on your driveway with chalk. Then the students write what their body does when they're feeling each color. So an example would be on their legs. They could write run if that's what they want to do when they feel red. So if they need to take a break and they need to go for a run around the gym, if they needed to run around the house, run around the neighborhood for a little bit, that's what their legs could help them do to get back to green. And then on the eyes, they could write cry if that's what they want to do when they feel blue. So the eyes, obviously crying releases that emotion. If that's what helps, let them do it. Let them get it out, and then have them practice bringing themselves back out of it. So a lot of people think crying is really bad and it's not a good way to cope with things. And it's actually a really, really healthy way to cope with blue emotions. So letting them have that moment to cry and to let it out can actually release those emotions, and they'll be able to get back to green faster. It's just them learning how to shorten the amount of time that they're crying and focusing on feeling better instead of continuing to get worse and worse. Sometimes crying can do that too. So it's a skill they need to learn. So that is the activity for the My Body drawing. Super fun. If you want to post pictures of those, I would love to get pictures of those whenever they get them finished. And then the journal reflection is write 3 triggers. So any 3 triggers. These could be your triggers. I would prefer them to be your triggers, but they could just be triggers in general. Did you know what your triggers were before today? So before thinking this, before knowing what triggers were, did you know some of those things? Yes or no? And what can you do to stay in control of your triggers, right? So that's knowing what they are beforehand and knowing what they are so that you can avoid them or to stay in control of them. If you can't avoid the students at your table, if that's or your siblings or whoever is your trigger right now, how are you going to stay in control of that so that they don't affect you that way? All right, and then of course the color I'm feeling right now is, so you'll do that one. And that is it for week 5. Like I said, I'm going to be posting all of the videos and all of the activities all the way up through week 8. So I'm going to be, you'll see me in the same things. I'm not changing to do the next videos. So I hope that helps. Like I said, parents, email me if you have questions. about any of this, if you need clarification on anything, if you need extra support or extra resources, I can find those for you. So let me know if you're struggling with any of these weeks, any of these topics that we've covered so far, and all the way up through 8. If you guys want to work ahead, great. You don't have to wait for the rest of them because this week they will all be up, or at least that's my goal. So yeah, you guys have a great day, and I can't wait to see you guys in the fall. I miss you all so much. Bye.